Welcome back, Warriors. I'm your Quartermaster yet again, and it is great to see y'all. Welcome to the 14th video of my Weapon Workshop series. In this tutorial series, I look at all the relevant statistics for all the weapons we're supplied with for this 2042 conflict. Mind you, some of the info on the weapon crates ain't exactly accurate, so that is why I'm here to test them out for you and get the most accurate info available. On top of gathering info, I also give you all my 3 suggested builds taken to the field for dealing with all manner of combat situations. Today we'll be taking a look at our 5th assault rifle, the Russian AM40. The AM40 is based on the AM-17 by Kalashnikov concern and fires the 545 Russian round. It has a base high-powered ammo capacity of 20 rounds with 1 in the chamber and fires at a fairly quick 729 rounds per minute, meaning that your magazine will be emptying fairly quickly if you're firing in full auto. Seeing as the base ammunition for this weapon is these high-powered rounds, they will be the basis for ammo comparisons. Now then, these high-powered rounds don't exactly have the typical damage ranges for an assault rifle in my humble opinion. From 0 to 9 meters, we deal 26 damage to the body. Next, from 10 to 39 meters, we deal 22 damage. After that, between 40 and 74 meters, our damage drops to 18 before hitting our super low minimum damage of 15 at 75 meters and beyond. Given this info, we end up with a base TTK between 247 and 494 milliseconds. Now, when we add in a headshot, we get a TTK that sits between 165 and 412 milliseconds, a notable decrease. Now, the AM40 also has a couple ammo types that will be given the same treatment that I gave the high-powered rounds. These standard issue rounds boost our rate of fire from 729 all the way up to 808, which still happens to be markedly lower than the labeling on the weapon crate would suggest. The rounds still fire at a faster rate, but they do not increase our ammo capacity at all. What they do provide is a decrease to both our reload time and our overall vertical recoil. On the opposite end of things, we end up having ranges that are a good deal worse than the base magazines. From 0 to 9 meters, we again deal 26 damage. Then from 10 to 29 meters, we drop to 22 damage. Next, between 30 and 49 meters, we deal only 18 damage before reaching our minimum of 15 damage at only 50 meters. Given these statistics, we end up with a TTK between 223 and 446 milliseconds. And in a headshot, again, ends up dropping our TTK to be between 149 and 371 milliseconds. The next ammo we have access to is subsonic ammunition. This gives us an added stealth factor by removing visible tracers and muzzle flash when firing these rounds. However, in exchange for this, we lose reload speed, effective damage range, and rate of fire, as these rounds only fire at 692 rounds per minute, which is quite the notable decrease. From 0 to 9 meters, we again deal 26 damage. Then from 10 to 29 meters, we drop to 22. Next, between 30 and 49 meters, we deal only 18 damage again before reaching 15 damage at 50 meters. Using all these numbers, we end up with a TTK of 260 to 520 milliseconds. Then adding in a headshot will decrease our TTK to be between 173 and 434 milliseconds. The final attachment that has any impact on our damage output is the suppressor. With the suppressor, we gain the best stealth benefits but lose damage and bullet velocity. With the suppressor attached, we deal only 24 damage out to 9 meters. Between 10 and 39 meters, we deal 21 damage. Between 40 and 74 meters, we drop to 17 damage before reaching a pathetic 14 damage per shot at 75 meters and beyond. Up close and at range, this will increase our number of shots required for a kill by 1. So our TTK with a suppressor ranges from 329 to 576 milliseconds. If factor in a headshot, we end up reducing our TTK to be between 247 and 412 milliseconds, negatively affecting our TTK up close when compared to not using a suppressor. The recoil for the AM40 is both decent and bad at the same time. I got these recoil plots at 50 meters, which is average I'd say for a firefight. While the overall magnitude is not terrible, it kicks like a mother when it comes to side-to-side bound. The barrel options seem to have a decent effect on the overall magnitude of the recoil, but the more it's compressed, the wider the shots seem to go. The RECOIL tactical muzzle brake and the tactical compensator do a good job of tightening this drift though. The grips, as per usual, don't do a hell of a lot when it comes to affecting recoil. HIPFIRE is pretty good. Honestly, it's great for an AR, and the LS1 laser just makes it even better. HIPFIRE recoil seems to be a rectangle, so it's somehow pretty consistent. That rectangle of recoil just gets narrower with the laser, but the magnitude overall is not affected. Unfortunately, when it comes to this gun, there's just not much room or variety since the weapon itself is hot garbage. As such, I've only got one build for y'all today. This single build starts off with Fusion Hollow Sight for what I feel is the best close range optic around. Next, we use the standard issue drum magazine for a reduction in recoil and bullet velocity while boosting our ammo capacity by 100% and increasing our rate of fire. We next use the LS1 laser to greatly boost our hip-fire control, and we end with a tactical compensator to increase our accuracy while sacrificing some recoil control. My one and only build for the AM40, the Spitfire, is basically the best build I could come up with for this honestly awful weapon. The optics can of course be swapped out to fit the range you're fighting in, but I typically default to the Fusion Hollow when using this weapon since it's built like a close quarters SMG anyway. The standard issue rounds may have a marked decrease in our effective ranges. You won't be using this weapon at further ranges anyway though, so that don't matter. Plus, the boosted rate of fire and impressive recoil reduction are well worth the range loss. I went with the LS1 laser mostly because none of the grips had any real effect on a recoil, and up close you can definitely just hip fire this thing and be effective with it. My final attachment is both odd and swappable. Typically I don't like the tactical compensator because it usually drives recoil through the roof. However, the recoil increase on the AM40 is both negated by the standard issue rounds while also not being that much of an increase anyway, meaning that the recoil is still lower than it would have been. The biggest benefit with this attachment is that it stops our bullets from kicking side to side so much, and it makes it far more accurate. The only thing I'd replace on this would be a suppressor for those flanking situations, but that change didn't warrant a whole nother class. And there you have it folks, all the stats you need to know and the best build to properly utilize your terrible Russian AM40. My only build, Spitfire, leans heavily into the SMG style nature of this weapon. It's basically a low recoil, low damage SMG with good hip fire capabilities. Nothing fancy, but then again, this weapon ain't nothing fancy either. It's easily the worst assault rifle in this conflict, and if you disagree, I'd like to hear which one you think is worse. I did my best to get the most accurate stats on my personal testing of this weapon with Corporal Freaky haircut. And so, what do y'all think of the AM40? Should it have been an SMG instead of an assault rifle? Let me know down below. And so if I did a good job today with this briefing, be sure to leave me a like and subscription to show the Major that you want more statistical briefings just like this one. And with that, I've been your Quartermaster, and until next time, I will see you later.